Hi folks, MasakoX here, Bardock, and him getting to meet his son Goku. But as we've stated during the course of this story, that might not be all that serene a thought. Firstly, Goku has never really shown that much gusto to find out more about his parents or meet his father in the afterlife. And secondly, Bardock is not the best dad out there and has never really shown overwhelming emotion toward anything other than battle. So with the prospect of being revived normally sounding incredible to folk, for Bardock it's just, neat. Let's carry on and see what's what. As you might remember from last time out, Goku was busy providing his father a valuable Senzu bean after he had received an absolute drubbing from Prince Vegeta, after the former monarch felt it absolutely necessary to hammer home the fact that Bardock's ungrateful attitude and nature and resistance to help would not go unchallenged. Bardock was processing all of this in his head as his son walked toward him. He knew that there was a power gap between him and the others. I mean, he was well aware of that from when he was back in the other world and he saw that tournament, and when he got trounced by Pikkon. But he had absolutely no idea that the gulf was that bad. Before he could dwell in his rationalization of events, Goku leant down and offered him a bean. "What's that?" said Bardock weakly. "It's one of those beans I talked to you about. Eat it. You'll feel better." Bardock paused. "That's subjective." He took the bean and, sure enough, he did feel better. Instantly. At least physically. He got up and dusted himself down and didn't even thank his son for being revived without copious medical attention or having to bathe in a not-bacta tank for hours. However, Chichi had had enough of this. "Thank him," the father leant in. "Excuse you?" "Thank your son for the bean. Now." Bardock walked toward Chichi and sneered in her direction. "I didn't ask for it, so why should I?" "I've remained silent about my feelings of the way you've treated my family all this time. The constant rudeness, the dismissive attitude toward everything, and the way you treat my boys. I'm sorry, but now it's gone beyond the pale. Either you buck up your ideas or you can find somewhere else to sleep." There was a pause. Chichi shut her eyes, ready for an absolute diatribe, or even worse, a fist, to be hurled in her direction. "Okay," said Bardock calmly. "Huh? What's okay?" said Goku, confused as the blasé reaction to Chi-Chi's heartfelt sentiment. It was genuine. "I'll find somewhere else. I don't have to listen to these stupid lectures." With that, he just simply walked off to Gohan's old hut, picked up his small sack of trinkets that he had acquired, as well as some oddities, and just flew off. What? Both Goku and Chi-Chi were left completely dumbstruck. They had not expected Bardock to be so calm and yet so cold. This was clearly a case for him not being able to cope with Vegeta's lesson in humility, and thusly wanting to get away from everybody to fester. Yeah, that was it. That's what they told themselves. He'll be back. Days passed and not a trace of Bardock was seen. Chi-Chi reckoned that he would buckle eventually and come back for some good old home-cooked grub. No, he didn't come back. Not even for dinner. Secretly, Chi-Chi was glad of this. He never appreciated the effort that she had undertaken to prepare these massive meals, like her other Saiyan lads did, and it meant less food for them, and so Bardock leaving, and clearly not wanting to return, was no skin off her nose. That being said, she knew that Goku was sad about this. He wanted to go and talk to his father and ask why he was acting this way, but Chi-Chi held him back from doing so. "He won't listen, sweetie. He hasn't listened to anybody ever since he got here. Goten needs you, especially since Gohan isn't around anymore to keep him keen." Goku sighed. "I know, it's just, I hope Dad would find some new sense of life in being alive." Chi-Chi looked to the stars. "His body may be here, but his soul, the thing that makes him who he is, might still be in the other world. Right now, your father isn't all there. Can't you see? I know that what you did was a kind thing. I love you for it, but is it really what your father wanted? Or was it what you wanted?" That hit Goku hard. "Maybe I made a mistake, but I can't unalive him, at least not in a moral way." Chichi chuckled. No, Goku, that won't be necessary. Give him some time. You can't force him to change or find new goals. I should have realized that. They held hands and silently accepted that Bardock was not likely to come back. So where was he then? You see, they knew where he was, since Goku and the other Dragon Team members can sense energy. He knew full well that Bardock hadn't gone all that far. He had had to keep to the realms of Mount Paozu, a place which he genuinely held in high regard. He liked the stillness of everything, the freshness of the air, and the sheer lack of people around to bother him. Oh, that was a really good part. He wasn't worried at all at being away from a bed and a shower, or any other of the creature comforts of home that Chi-Chi had managed to acquire. Back on planet Vegeta, in their little hut, they didn't have any of that. He and Gine managed to make it work. They mostly spurned technology when living on the daily. For Bardock, much like his boy when he took care of himself, he could adapt quite well to life and nature like this, alone, living off the fat of the land. He would train, find food, and spend time trying to find ways of getting back on track with things and getting back at Vegeta first of all. He thought of his partner. Gine had taught him some basic cooking skills to get him by out in the field should he find himself in need of a good meal whilst dealing with battle at the same time. And it was here that those memories started to flood back. He didn't need to be pampered by Kakarot's woman to find this contentment, no. He just needed to fend for himself, live it rough, remember the simple life of home, his old home. He lamented Kine's death and never being able to find her in the afterlife, but he didn't cry. He remained strong and kept the memory of her burning bright. However, for quite a few times and instances, he wasn't alone. Goten, despite being constantly snubbed by his grandpa, wouldn't give up. He shared his stubbornness with his father and kept reminding himself that he was indeed related to him, and that surely deep down within his mind and instincts, he would have some space in his life for him. One day, Goten plucked up just enough courage to approach Bardock late one evening after he had had his dinner. Bardock saw him coming, even though he couldn't sense energy. He was still adept at seeing the enemy and knowing when to prepare for an ambush. Goten wasn't out to get him like a normal assailant, but old habits die hard and all. He let the kid approach him, pretending not to notice. Goten steadied himself and spoke. Hello again. I found ya! That was it? More of the same soft, childish talk? What do you want? You trying to get me to come back, then forget it. I'm fine here. I know. Then why do you darken my doorway, huh? The child, instead of looking attacked, grimaced. I've always wondered what you were like. And from what you've shown me, you suck. Say that again. You heard. You suck. You're nothing like my dad. And I know that I've only just met him too. But he's just as cool as everyone said. You, though, you're pathetic, rude, and a disappointment. Instantly, forgetting what Vegeta had told him, he lunged forward and tried to attack Goten, but the kid lit up into his Super Saiyan form and instantly sent Bardock into the wall of his cave, creating a deep tunnel, several feet deep actually. By the time Bardock managed to claw his way out of the newly made chasm, Goten had powered down again, and yet maintained his serious expression and stance. So, you came here to throw a tantrum? Said Bardock between laboured breaths. Well, you made your point. You wailed on your grandfather. Congratulations. Now get out of here. Goten didn't move, though. Bardock shouted. I said get out! Leave me alone! When you can defend against me in my Super Saiyan form, you'll never see me again. Until then, I'll come back every night and train you up. Goten then just walked away. Bardock then walked forward. Why are you doing this? To make yourself feel big? To spite me with this training? Goten slowly turned around. Somebody's got to do it. With that, Goten flew off, leaving Bardock with his thoughts, a black eye, and a dinner that was quickly turning into charcoal. The next day, Goten kept his word and arrived. Bardock was more prepared this time though, but still met with a similar fate, making the tunnel in his cave increasingly deep. That being said, With each day that passed, the length of each addition to this tunnel decreased. This was very hardcore training, Bardock realized. Kakarot had gone very soft in his approach in the time they spent together in the other world, and here, not wanting to go all out, work his way up to something. But Goten, he was coming in hard. He couldn't quite place why he was doing this, though. I mean, was it to vent his own internal anguish or something? Or was he doing this to restore Bardock's lust for power? Or just to be nice? The feeling he was left with after every session was not of niceness. Hurtness, more like, and a lot of it. One day, Goten answered his query, and he didn't expect the answer.
I want to get stronger too.
You want to get stronger? Isn't what you got enough? Goten smiled.
Nope. Like my dad, I want to get tougher and defend my home. I also realized something. That the way training went when you were around home wasn't what you wanted. You needed something harder, or more accurately, more blunt. Hence why I've come here to visit you. To give you what you want. A challenge. The day you can overcome it is when you won't need me anymore. Then you can be truly free of your failures.
Ouch. Oh, that was harsh, but what the kid said was kind of accurate. If he could defend himself from a Super Saiyan, then at least Vegeta would be no longer a constant sore spot. Do your parents know of our little arrangement? Goten shook his head.
Nope. They think I'm training on my own with my multiform or something.
Didn't your mother tell you that lying is bad?
You want to be bothered by them?
Bardock grunted. Again, kid had a point. And so, this understanding progressed over the months that followed. However, the simple test grew from just that, but into brief little sparring sessions. Bardock started to get what Vegeta was talking about before with Goten. He had potential as well as the desire to prove himself, really stand out from the crowd. In turn, Goten being the teacher here provided him confidence as well, and the chance to really delve deep into what made a Saiyan a Saiyan. Bardock punched above his weight in the first life, in the afterlife, and now in his second life. Goten would learn a lot from this, so you can easily say that this was a mutual sort of a thing. They were both learning from one another in different ways. Nevertheless, Bardock remained adamant in not coming back to live in Grandpa Gohan's hut, but Goten didn't press this anymore.
You're not that far away.
Bardock smiled. Far enough to have my own space. At last, the kid was starting to get the language that the father of Goku spoke. Instead of talking to him like a regular Earthling or some other kind of soft and supple being, Goten was conversing with him in a manner that more befitted a typical Saiyan, through action, simplicity, bluntness, and grit. This would rub off on Goten very much so in the years that would follow. But for now, this little exchange would be their little secret. Except it wasn't. Since Goten was a sweet and innocent boy, neither Chichi or Goku questioned him when it came to where he was going after dinner. They knew that nothing could harm him really out there, so they didn't worry themselves about it. That is until King Kai came a-callin', demanding Goku's attention.
So, Goku, how goes life with your old man? Getting on all right?
Goku shook his head as he heard the Kai's voice in his head.
Not really. I haven't seen him in over a year.
You haven't?
Nope. He took himself off after Vegeta laid into him. Ain't seen him since.
Well, that's weird, because I checked in a few times myself with him, and I seen your boy Goten hanging out with him. Figured that you were seeing him too. Ah.
Goku leapt up and was stunned. Chi-Chi was confused since she couldn't hear King Kai, and Goku wasn't really forthcoming with what he was hearing.
He has? Is he alright?
Oh yeah, Goku. Goten kicks his ass almost every day.
Goku was surprised.
Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense, but why did you want to know?
Well, you see, Goku, is that your old man's power has increased a whole lot. I figured he might be ready for my special training. He hasn't blown anyone up, has he? Because that would be a really bad mark on his book.
If you knew about Goten, then how come you don't know that?
Chi-Chi's ears perked up.
What's this about Goten?
Anyway, I got my planet back after waiting in line for eternity. You get it? Since I live in eternity, you can send him my way. I'll be expecting him.
With that, Goku was given his orders and transmitted over to where Bardock was, leaving Chi-Chi thoroughly worried about her precious baby boy. When he got to Bardock's little hidey hole, Goten was in the middle of his training when the sight of his father surprised them both.
Huh? Dad? It's not what it looks like. I ain't mad. In fact, I'm impressed. But either way, Dad,
he turned to Bardock, who was stunned at the fact that Kakarot had casually arrived and found him practically instantly without any trace of him.
King Kai wants to train you his techniques. They're pretty cool. Come with me.
Techniques? Like what?
You remember when I fought Paikon and went all red and stuff? My power increased super high, right? That.
Huh. Bardock was curious. This new power was a nice little addition, he thought. And this being on King Kai's planet meant that maybe he could get another shot at finding Gine, unencumbered with being dead and designated to HFIL. Okay, let's go. See you later, Goten. Goten didn't expect a lengthy goodbye or a thank you. He just waved him off. You better go tell your mom what you've been up to. You know how much she doesn't like lies. Goku Bardock set off for King Kai's planet, the latter feeling a little more whole. And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now. If you like this story, check out 2020's full story where Videl got to train more for their 25th Budokai. And I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!